Hey guys, I'm going to show you a way to do a 2-turn clear on level 99 Aldibah for farming pearls or farming tickets, whatever you want to do. If you're looking for a rank 1 clear all modifiers, I did post a video of that. I'll put a link in the comments to my rank 1 clear. It's really hard to pull off, it's really stressful, but you know, it's there. This is going to be just a 2-turn clear. Now, I'm pretty sure you could do a 1-turn clear and OTK it on the first turn. That would require, I'm pretty sure, Lena to pull off. So this is going to be either a 2-turn clear or a 3-turn clear. It might be either one. But it'll be a pretty safe clear. We're only going to take damage, like real damage, on the first turn. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to be doing here. So here's the ambush where the boss brings you to low health. It's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. Now, Diverty has Phoenix Synergy and some auto-casting healing. Notice we do have a healing down reduction, which is a little irritating, but that's fine. We're going to use Terra to summon Lakshmi on turn 1. That's going to heal the party a decent amount by 25%, which is not much, but it's enough for what we need. Now Tullian is going to triple. We're going to use his special gauntlets for an 88% break. We're going to do I Am the True Hero, and we're going to use Flaming Oaks that hits the boss with fire to lower his mitigation for next turn. Diverty is currently going to, he's evading in the base form. We're going to draw and reload. That's a provoke buff. It's also a 90% damage reduction for the party, but not him. That's going to buff the party's general MIP by 90%. And then Damage Card Cut is going to give himself a personal 75% MIT, and then Fired Up Earth to boost his Earth damage for later. Shadow Lord is going to cast True Spell Wall. That's a 95% magical mitigation buff, which is going to obviously make Chromatic Wave survivable, especially with no modifiers. Then Roberta is going to Dragon and Aqua Killer and mitigation buff, and Support from the Skies. This is a 300% stat buff, as well as a 5-stack Mirage for the party. So, currently, we have 5-stack Mirage, which means we're going to avoid the first 5 physical AoEs. We're passive provoking the single target physical with Diverty, who is using Evasion. We are passive provoking the magic with Diverty, and he has decent spirit because he's a magical tank. We don't need AoE magic cover because nothing can be AoE magic covered on turn 1. And for Chromatic Wave, we've got 90% general, 95% magic, 30% dragon, 30% aqua, 300% stat buff, and 88% breaks on the boss. That is about as bulky as you can possibly get on turn 1 to survive Chromatic Wave, and we have no modifiers turned on. Esther is just going to get herself ready for LB next turn. So, the only way we'll possibly die here is if the boss decides to use 6 or more AoE physicals, which is possible. This idiot can do 10 casts of Chromatic Wave. It is possible that he does 10 or 6 or more Tail Slaps. There's two Tail Slaps. Tail Slap will kill us if it ever hits us. But we have 5-stack Mirage. If he had to do 6 to kill you, that'll rarely happen that he does 6 Tail Slaps in a turn. But it can happen. Keep that in mind. Okay, but anyway, the Chromatic Waves did like 100 damage a pop. They did basically nothing because we had exceptional magic mitigation. Anyway, now it is time to burst the boss. Before we do that, Roberta and Ignis are going to Draconic Triune. That's going to fill LB gauge for our Evokers because they need to fill their LB. It'll also fill your Tullian if he's not EX2. We're going to do Infernal Breath to Fire Imbue, and then just Mystic Breath for whatever. Okay. So, now we're going to, Diverty is going to Shifted LB. That is janky Bolting Strike frames, not real Bolting Strikes. Tullian is going to LB. He also has janky Bolting Strike frames, and they perfectly match with Diverty. So those two will chain together. Esther's going to LB. Shadow Lord will just do the Extreme Nova Materia. And Terra is going to shift and cap. Now, depending on variance, depending on RNG, we might finish off the boss this turn. More than likely, we're going to get him to like 10% health, and he's going to threshold. The threshold is that as long as you do 50% or more, you're fine. So we're going to start Terra because she's extremely slow. So we're going to start her. Then we're going to send the rest of the chainers. And we should do something like 90% damage, depending on your gear, depending on your EX levels. That was actually a lot less than 90, but okay, that's fine. Here's the 50% threshold where all the boss does is a gravity. It will not kill you unless you were at 1 HP. Hopefully you weren't. So Roberta is now just going to cast Draconic Triune. That's going to refill Diverti and Terra. So now we can just reload and go again. Unfortunately, Esther's LB is not good to go. So Shadow Lord is going to triple Bolting Strike. And Esther is going to just do her Bolting Strike setup stuff. Okay, so again, this is going to finish off the fight. It's going to do a lot less damage because Esther is not going to do that big boy LB right here. But it'll definitely do 17%. So we're going to send Terra, and we're going to wait. Then send the Chainers. And, yeah, the Evokers, and Tulian, and Diverti, and, you know, the Chaining Esther did enough damage. So we did 826 million on turn 2. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so there was a 2-turn clear. It is not the quickest clear ever, but it does work, so there we go. So here's the breakdown. As you can see, Esther really carries this. Esther is also passively buffing our entire party's LB damage by 250%. You might be wondering, why did no one use an LB buff? Esther did it for the entire party. That requires EX2 Esther, and if your Esther is not EX2, this might not be the best clear. So here is the setup. I'm going to do one more run, less explaining and more just speed running, and I'm going to see how quickly I can get a clear in, and then I'll show you the gear and all, and talk about potential swaps. So let's go ahead and get another clear in. I'll try to speed clear it, and we'll see how quickly I can do it. There is a lot of clicking involved in this clear, and brave shifting and all that, so it's definitely not going to be a super quick clear, but, you know, we'll do what we can. So Shadow Lord will true spell wall, these, do this, and support. Let's see, Esther does her LB setup, Diverti does this, and Tulian gets ready with this, and this. So that wasn't too long. I don't know, how long did that take me? A minute? So this is like something like a 2.5 minute clear per orb. Definitely not the quickest, and if I had Lena, I would show you guys a turn 1. Actually, it'd probably be a turn 2 setup with Lena. I don't know if we could actually do a full setup, but we could definitely threshold the boss on turn 1 with Lena if we had Lena, or if I had Lena. I tried it without Lena. I was a little short. I was a little short without having Lena, so that was unfortunate, but you know, whatever. So we need to Fire Imbue, Draconic, and just whatever. Diverti LB, Tulian LB, Esther LB, Terra LB, Shadow Lord do his thing. Wait for all this to finish. Send Terra, wait, Chainers. And we should do somewhere around 90%. That was bad variance last time. Okay, bad variance again, or maybe I'm just bad. I don't know, whatever, who cares. Anyway. Oh, something else to mention for the second turn burst. You might be wondering if we don't have Esther's big LB. On the second burst, on turn 3, the boss doesn't have any mitigation whatsoever. So it's a whole lot easier to push that threshold on this turn. So Shadow Lord will... Yeah, like I said, this is definitely a lot of clicking and brave shifting, and this is not like the quickest clear ever. But it gets it there. It is a clear, and it's pretty easy to farm if you have all this stuff. You know, you got to always keep in mind, whenever I say something is easy or doable or blah, 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 that assumes you have all the tools that I'm using, which you may or may not. So if you do have all these, you know, it's fine. If you don't, well, big sad face. So here's the damage breakdown once again. As you can see, Esther heavy carries this. Roberta's buffs are pretty important. Shadow Lord and Diverti combined make survival a joke. Tulian is the breaker, chains with Diverti with Earth, and then Terra is just an extra DPS, but she also summons Lakshmi on turn 1. So I'll go ahead and show you the gear breakdown, and I'm not getting good luck on rewards, but whatever. So let me go ahead and show you the gear breakdown here. So no modifiers for a farming run. Level 99. Here's the setup. The only important thing is someone on the party is equipped to Lakshmi, so that Terra can summon it on turn 1. Because while we do reduce the boss's damage to very, very, very low amounts, You do need some healing, so you're not at like 1% HP, because that'll still kill you. But a nerfed 25% heal from Lakshmi is fine. So here's the party we used. Roberta is a little bit important. You just need enough spirit to survive turn 1. That's all that really matters. We didn't use anything else, so just a little bit of survival so your spirit is high enough. Diverty is, you don't need passive provoke, but you do need, he needs 100% evasion because he's provoking, and the boss does a ton of single target physicals. More than 5 stack Mirage will protect you. So your provoker needs 100% evasion, and he is always the provoker no matter what, because his 90% mit also cast a provoke. So he will be provoking, so make sure he's full evasion. He does also need 10 LB so that he can get his LB guaranteed by turn 2. Last thing he needs is give him Phoenix Synergy if you can, and give him, if you own it, Paws of Prosperity. These are auto healing at the start of the turn, because the boss does do some single target magic, so Diverty is taking the most damage in the party, so just make sure he has some auto healing. Shift Form is just LB damage. He's an evoker, so he bypasses all the mitigation, and it's janky bolting strike frames, just like Tulian, and they do work together decently well. So Tulian, make sure he's using his special gauntlet, that way you can do his Helter Grasp skill for the 88% breaks. Whoops, get out of here. Also, make sure he has enough spirit to survive. I mean, you don't really need basically any spirit, to be honest here. Did I ever dorp out him? I didn't, actually. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, with 95, 90, 30, 30, and 300 mitigations, like, you're not going to die to Chaos Wave to Chromatic Wave on turn 1. So here's his damage. You saw his damage. It's pretty freaking low, but it was there. Maxed LB. 200 Dragon, 50 Aqua. I mean, yeah, okay. The main thing he does is break, and he's a good Imperil for Earth, so he works well with Diverty, who kind of has to come for the 90% mitigation. Stormseeker Esther in the base form is just pure damage. Pure damage, carries the fight. Now, the important thing here is that she's EX2. Because she's at EX2, she auto-casts at the start of the battle an AoE 250% LB damage boost. As you can obviously imagine, that's really important when we're using like 5 LBs and no one else is buffing LB damage. You could buff it with Roberta instead. So if your Esther is not EX2, your Roberta instead on turn 1 would do the Fire Imbue, the AoE Mirage, those are critical, and then Esther would do, and then you would also do the LB fill with Roberta. So Roberta would do Fire Imbue, AoE Mirage, and you would do the LB fill skill, the Magnus, because you wouldn't have, and we wouldn't do either killer buff or mitigation buff. And then on turn 2, Roberta could do her LB first for the LB damage buff. That might end up a net loss because you have no killers then. I don't know. I didn't try that, but that's an option if your Esther is not EX2. We didn't use the shift form. Shadow Lord, nothing really matters other than give him the lightning fast legend and make sure he is not dual wielding. Do not dual wield him because it'll break the legend material. You have to be single wielding. Shield is okay, but just don't dual wield him. Other than that, 800 spirit, just whatever. He's literally here for his 95% mitigation on turn 1 and a support chain. Terra in the base form. I gave her Obsidian Bracer. It's kind of actually irrelevant, so it doesn't really matter that much. Don't worry about Obsidian Bracer. Spirit. Just a little bit of spirit so you survive turn 1. Shift form, pure damage. That's all that matters. There we go. So she's maxed on literally everything. Yep, maxed on everything. And there we go. And Terra auto-fills the LB at the start of the turn. And she can... she auto-fills the Esper Gauge at the start of the turn. And she can cross-summon Lakshmi. So that allows us to heal a little bit on turn 1. So there is your speed clear. It's a 3-turn clear. It's actually not that quickly, but it's pretty easy to do if you have all these options. Terra is the most replaceable. If you don't have Terra, you could swap her out for like someone to just heal the party. Because someone does have to heal the party on turn 1 or you're dead. And everyone else on turn 1 was busy casting other things. Terra was the only free slot on turn 1. And she is an evoker and she does bypass the phase 1 mitigation. So that's really, really helpful. Anyway, I will see you guys later.